Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 100!
Yay!
We're hoping that something goes in post so we don't look...
Both of us are super worried about the Trump dance.
We don't want to do the Trump dance.
We don't want to do the Trump dance.
And we definitely don't want to do the Elon Musk dance.
Not that one either.
No, we don't. So
but
we're
we
trying...
want to dance somehow, because this is
without
huge.
moving our legs.
100 episodes, man.
100 episodes.
Who would have thought?
We did it.
Yeah, tech barbecue, kind of like little marriage here happening.
Little marriage.
Yeah,
Aw.
I love it.
Aw.
Cool,
Love
cool.
you, buddy.
So, on that note,
Episode
today
100.
is special.
Today is very special.
Why?
Because it's episode 100. Because Spark Force is packed to the gills of people, and I couldn't find anywhere to
true.
sit.
That's true. But also because we're not really going to talk about marketing today.
No, we are not going to talk about marketing.
So celebrating Marketing Corner by not talking about marketing.
By giving you a
We
break.
are always changing the narrative.
We are. We are.
We're going to talk about life lessons.
We are. We're going to talk about life.
Yeah, we're going to talk life. Like, how
get
old are you
deep.
again, Jen?
I'm 44 years old. I'm 10 years older than you.
Jesus, so old.
I am
I'm 34, so I have fewer life lessons on
Yes,
my
I
line
packed
here.
a lot in.
But fundamentally, we both learned a bit, like quite a lot. And sometimes I watch these Instagram reels and I'm like, I could talk about life too. I can say some motivational stuff.
Yeah.
So let's try.
Okay.
So that's why we're here. So today we're going to try and share some things we've learned in life related to work or not that people might feel are inspiring.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
at least what we're trying to do.
Or at least you don't feel alone.
Yes, you don't feel alone.
You're not alone.
And-
Marketing Corner is like a hug in your ears.
Embrace it. If
We're
you've been listening to
here.
100 episodes now, but
100
you
episodes,
need to
4
really embrace
years.
it.
4 years of this bullshit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
You must really like us. You like us.
Thank
You
you.
really like us.
Thank you. So,
Yep.
do you want to kick us off with the first one?
Yeah, and I think important to emphasize these are not in any particular order.
Nope.
This is what ChatGPT told me to say. No.
No.
No. I think as I'm getting older, as you pointed out many times, how old I am, and my family has grown. I think one of the lessons is time is your most valuable asset, and I know that sounds really, really cliche, but I think as when I hit my 40s, I was like, all the stuff that doesn't matter it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like I finally feel comfortable in my own skin. It took me a long time to get here.
Yeah.
But I know what I want to do, and I know what I don't want to do. And I'm just not going to do what I don't want to do. And I have kids now, and I have a wonderful partner, and I have the suburban dream. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't need to do things I don't want to do anymore.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I spend my time how I want to spend it, and I don't care what people think about it.
And I love that. I'm such a big fan of it. It's funny, like when it's I think the best example is typically eating habits, right? Once you become older, like you just know what you like. Like I'm just like, so why don't you try this new thing? Because like I don't typically like these kind of things.
Yeah.
So like I've tried 34 years, man. Like I like bacon, so
I'm gonna eat bacon.
bacon.
The end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not because you're stuck. It's just because like you know what you like.
Yeah, and I think that also helps set boundaries, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It sets boundaries within your work. One of the things after I had my daughter, I said, my new rule is I'm going to be at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Present.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone saw this advert. It was like, I think it's Australian or from New Zealand, where it was like they interviewed a bunch of parents saying, if you could have dinner with anyone, who would it be? And they were like, oh, Buzz Aldrin or, Steven Spielberg, and they're naming all these things. And then they asked their kids, if you could have dinner with anyone, who would it be? And they said their parents.
Aww.
And you're like, and then they showed the parents, and of course all the parents felt like shit.
Yeah.
But like that's my thing is like I'm gonna make sure I'm at that dinner table as often as I can, and totally present, because again, time. Like time, you're not gonna money. Easy to say when you're living contently, but comes and goes. The thing that you're gonna want when you're on your deathbed is more
It's
time.
funny, like money's for a lot of what I've kind of I've studied this like I won't call it studied, sounds awful. I haven't studied it, but I've read a lot about it. Like when does money matter? And I found that like what I've read up is that money matters until a certain limit. Until once you so when you don't have money and you can't pay for food, money matters a lot.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like money's really important.
Yeah.
When you can't pay for your rent, money's really important. When you have all the things you want, like your life, let's say you have a car, you have a family, you have a nice house, you can go out to dinner, you can do almost whatever you want.
I mean, I'm not like rolling in
completely
dough,
free,
but I'm content.
You're content, right? You're in a good place. then does it matter? Like, what matters more? Does 100K more matter than a few hours more with your daughter?
100% the time.
Right.
Yeah.
But 100K matters a lot when you don't have food on the table.
Actually, what I was thinking about, like in my single days, right? I had my 9 to 5. I had a consultancy business, and I did transcribing on the side. So I basically had 3 jobs to make money. That's all I wanted to do. And so when you hit a certain stage of your life,
more money doesn't matter.
It switches.
At that point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, if I got offered 100K more, but it means I'm home 2 days a week.
Exactly.
I'm
I feel like personally,
I'm
I'm
not
also
taking
very close to that. I'm not 100% there yet. I think that's something my wife still is studying, so that puts a strain on budgets.
Right. Yeah.
I'm very close to also being there. Like, I don't care too much about money anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I actually just a few years ago I cared, but now these days it's like it's fine.
There's like a saying, right? That's like, what is it that rich people? Yeah, it's like if you have a lot of time, then you don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
But if you have a lot of money, then what you want is time.
Exactly.
So it kind of slips. And I'm not.
No
this
amount of
isn't
money
like
ever bought a second of time.
Exactly. And
It's
I'm not trying.
technically true, but it's almost true.
And I'm not trying to say like, look at me. I know I'm coming from a place of privilege, but I've worked my ass off the last 20 something years to be in a position where I can go, I'm content now.
Exactly.
So I think that's a really big lesson for me. And then, of course, for people who don't have families, I understand that maybe you have the time and you want to work on the money. And that got me to where I am today.
Yeah.
You know, you don't get to be a vice president within like 6 years because you sat on your ass. I worked my ass off, but now it paid off.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
But that brings me to, I'll share one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think fundamentally that the term of work-life balance is misleading.
Okay.
And I found that to be the case because it's not about work-life balance, it's about work-life harmony. And with that, I mean, because like work-life balance indicates that you should, when you leave work, then you're off work. You're not thinking about work. And when you go to work, you're not thinking about your family. You're just thinking about work.
True.
And for me, I don't believe any bit in that. Like when I'm at work, I'm still talking to my wife on the phone or something, or thinking about what do I need to feed the kids or whatever that is. And when I'm home from work, I'm also talking to my wife about our stuff, but I'm also thinking about work stuff. Like, I'm one person. I can't split my personality into a work personality and a Casper at home personality. It's one thing. The important part is just that there's harmony. And that harmony, at least from my perspective, can be different from person to person. Some people find harmony, I need to leave at 2 to pick up my kids and be home at 5 hours. And some people like me, I'm like, I pick up kids twice a week, and I when I'm with my kids, I try to be as much present as I can. Like, I really try to not be work mode Casper, but I can't ignore the fact that I am work life Casper is part of Casper.
Yeah.
So I found that to be slightly misleading in life. So I find like I'm trying like that balance right now. I feel like I'm in a really good spot, and it's funny because I've never worked more, but I've also never felt more present when I'm not at work.
Right.
Because I can somehow I'm happy in both phases, and that for somehow that happiness brings harmony, and I think that's more what I found to be the case.
I think that's a really good point. I mean, for me, it's about like boundaries, and this is one of my points. But maybe we can integrate it here. Like I like I said in the earlier point, like I'm going to be at the dinner table and I'm going to be present at the dinner table. That doesn't mean that when my kids are asleep, I'm not checking, my emails or something like that. But I take my daughter to gymnastics every Tuesday at 3:30. That is my mom. Like, that's my boundary. I need to be able to do this, but I own my calendar, own my time. When we talk about, I just did a whole thing about time, but I will book it out my calendar and I say I'm unavailable. Yeah. But I will get back to you. I will make sure that I will not miss this deadline. It's never caused a problem because these are the boundaries. That's the harmony. I've set these boundaries. I'm going to drop my kids off. I'm going to be home, but things are still going to happen. And as long as people know not to contact me or that they're not going to hear from me, that's the harmony, right?
Exactly.
And when I became a working mom for the first time, I say the word mom a lot. I can tell, but it's all the kids change everything for me. But I spoke to a counselor, not because there was particularly anything wrong, but I said I've never been a working mom. How do I become the best mom, the best employer, the best leader? Like, I've never had to juggle all of these roles at the same time. The best partner, I still have to do that too. Sometimes we forget the Camillas, but we can't ever forget the Camillas.
No.
But how do I do that? And one of the things, this tip that they gave me is they said, when you're on your train home, give yourself a landmark, and that's when you stop working. That's when the laptop goes down and you listen to a podcast or you listen to music or something that's not work gen, and it helps you transition into mom gen. Because that was the thing I was struggling with is when I walk through the door, I'm still work gen. I was still like, I was on my laptop furiously doing work. Oh, my stop, it's my stop. Like, shove it in my bag, run. And that I wasn't very present. And so she called it take off the armor.
Yes.
And so I knew when I hit Roskilde, I have 20 minutes until I'm home. So when I get to the Roskilde train station, my armor comes off.
Decompress.
Mom gen or, gen is, and that's where work stops. And that's for me is how I found my balance or my harmony.
I like that.
So
I like that a lot.
A little tip for everyone.
Yeah. Do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, I think maybe in terms of setting boundaries, not everyone deserves access to you.
It's very true.
And this is something, again, that took a long time to learn. I don't know about you, but I have been a people pleaser, a pathological people pleaser for most of my life.
I don't think I'm as bad as you, but I have parts of that. Yeah.
And while, yes, maybe it got me some places, it's exhausting.
It's super exhausting.
It's exhausting
Very
to
draining.
be what everyone wants you to be. And I think, again, when I hit my 40s, I could just go, fuck that.
It's learning to say no.
Learning to say no. And if someone doesn't like it,
so be it.
So be it.
You can't please everyone.
Yeah.
I think, and it goes into a lot of things we do, right? Like also that mentality also shapes, actually, speaking of marketing.
There it is.
There it is.
Here we
back. Like when we talk a lot about positioning typically, right? But I think for SparkForce, when I started SparkForce, I was also very clear and basically like SparkForce is not going to be for everyone. Like if you're in B2C e-commerce and you're a huge brand, like we're not for you guys. Like we don't want to work with you guys. Like, and no hard feelings, maybe 10 years in the future, who knows? But right now, we're not the right ones for you. And learning to say that brings you further than you actually know. And I think it's the perfect example of that. Sometimes I know it's a little bit out there, but it's the example of saying, if you say no to something, actually opens the door to a lot of other stuff.
Yes, exactly. Right? It's never, I don't know, right now, touch wood, it's never shot me in the foot. But I remember the epitome of this for me, where it stuck out in my mind, is I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Jennifer, should we have a call? Just checking in. Should we have, and I'm like, I don't know you. I don't need anything. Yeah. And I was on maternity leave again, sorry, but, and I didn't want to be working, but my LinkedIn was bloop, bloop, bloop. Yeah. So I turned off notifications, but there was this one guy just messaging me twice a day. Wow. Jennifer, I think we should really talk. We should connect. Hey, Jennifer, I'm just checking. And I just wrote him back. I was like, dude, it's Sunday. You have messaged me 4 times over the weekend.
It's a bot.
You are not entitled to my time.
Yeah.
And I am not going to answer you because this is too much. Oh. And it was that kind of mentality of like, you're taking me out of my zone for something I don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, maybe I was a little rude with him, and I know some of these BDRs and stuff, you're just doing your job. Yeah. But no one deserves access to you. Like, you decide your time, how you're going to spend your time. Totally. So that's my
No, but let me follow up on that, because I think I'll tie it into the next one I have here. Skipping a few then. But I think one of the things I've found in life here, that the karma might be a theoretical concept, but it's also very real.
Okay.
And what with that I mean is just I've just found that if I treat people nicely, along the way, along my journey, and if I go and do things where I don't expect any form of return. Like, I meet people I'm not supposed to meet with. That was not how.
That sounds dodgy.
That was not how I meant. But like, when I take that in that conversation where I technically know already sometimes before, you can't take too much of it because then you'll drown. So be it. Learning to say no. So that's a great example, right? But I also found that, like, when I treat people nicely, I've had multiple clients come in. I've had multiple job offers and stuff for things where I just did them one nice favor. Yeah. Way back when.
Yeah. Way and they remember you.
They remember
I've had that
me
a lot
because I did that.
Like, I remember you did that.
Hey, Casper, I just remember you were super nice back then, and you were super helpful. And now here's the thing: we need an agency. I'm like, oh, here we go.
It's come full circle.
Let's talk. And it's 10 years later, right? Like, stuff like that. And I've just found that in life, I've just found it compounds. Like, it compounds. So when I do nice things, and it's not. Like, trust me, I probably put out more good stuff than I take, if like in a good way. Yeah. So I probably do. I'm not gonna sound like a saint here, but I'm probably doing more than I actually like. Let's say I meet 10 people, and then one of them ends up giving me something back, and that's technically like not the best investment.
It's not a good ROI, but
that's not a good investment. But of course, you never know. But it's just, I found that to just be a very real thing, and I also found it to be very rewarding for me personally. Like,
It's nice to help people.
I like to do things where I don't necessarily know if this is gonna benefit me.
Yeah.
Like I met with a guy the other day, and he was like, "Hey man, I have this new product. Do you want to take a look at it?" I was like, "It's not really my thing, but I'll, book me here. Let's talk." And then I gave him some feedback. He was like, "Wow, yeah, okay, I'll be back." I don't know if he's ever gonna be back. Who knows? But who knows, right? But it felt right.
Yeah. I think it's good to, like, this is hard for me to do, I think, as a cynical New Yorker, but like to understand that everyone's operating from a good place and, you want to return that. So when someone reaches out to you, like I had someone reach out the other day, and it was very timely. Like we just did our geo episode. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And they're like, we just saw this. We're actually building a tool.
I got multiple of those, by the way.
I got but this one, I got a few of those, but this guy's like, we're actually building the tool. Yeah. And I was like, hey, just to let you know, I'm not in the market to buy anything, but I'd love to see it because I do advise companies. Yeah. And he's like, actually, I wasn't asking if you wanted to buy it. I just wanted to show it to you because we're really proud. And it's like,
that's cool.
Let's go see it. And then who knows what's going to happen. So it's like
good outreach,
but also like, when you get those unsolicited messages, you're like, fuck off.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I'm trying to let that go from my default and going, okay, what have you got to say? What have you got to offer?
Exactly.
And then you never know what can come of it. So I think it's, kind of operating from an open heart
and it's actually, I also found it like to be a little bit easier. Like it's easier to come from a place of just saying everybody, like, try and help as many people as you can.
But by keeping in mind, people don't deserve your time, but
exactly.
if it's
set
something
boundaries,
set boundaries,
and also differentiate, because you can't help everyone. Like, but also I think early parts of my career, like, you can help a lot of people, right? You have a lot of time. Nowadays, I can't help everyone anymore. Like, just like you're gonna 5-10 messages a day, right? I can't help everyone, so I have to be a little bit selective. But fundamentally, I try, and I think that's an important part.
Yeah, maybe that's leads into my motto. Taking that with a little salty spin is like, do no harm, but take no shit.
Yeah, that's your motto for 2025.
That's my motto for 2025 is do no harm, but take no shit, because be kind. Everyone's going through something, but have your boundaries. Yeah. And if someone is pushing you and making you feel that they're not coming from a good place, shut it down. Absolutely. Take no shit. Yeah. So that's maybe, I don't know if that's like my motto. I don't know if that's a life lesson.
That's
but
great.
It's combining those together of like, be kind, don't hurt people, don't be nasty. No. But when things cross your lines, shut it down. Yeah.
I agree. So I'll take the next one.
Yeah.
And one of the things I found in life is this, like, it's a classic. A lot of these are cliches. Like, it's funny. My wife always calls me like the cliche master, because I always like I love quotes. I have all these quotes. I just have them in a back pocket.
This is the guy, listeners, who before he goes on stage listens to motivational talks.
Fuck yeah, fuck yeah.
I listen to Robin.
I listen to the like talks where it's like people are like. When like in Rocky, when like Sylvester Stallone tells his kid is like it's not about how hard you can hit, but it's about how hard you can get hit and keep getting up, like that kind of stuff that I live and breathe that stuff.
No.
Anyways, so but one of the things I found in life is also like the classic saying of like, you are the people you surround yourself with. Mm-hmm. Like you are like the people you surround yourself help form who you are. Yeah. Right? So if you surround yourself with bad people, you're most likely going to be a bad person. Like, it doesn't always have to be that way. Like, but I found that to be the case. And that's like, and so some people, I've always found it so interesting. And speaking from like a company perspective, some companies are like, why do we have a bad culture? Like, why do we have bad culture? I'm like, it's pretty obvious to me. You've hired this fucker over here.
Fucker.
And he might not just be one guy out of 20, but, that's 5%.
Yeah.
Now 5% is bad seeds, and it's actually worse when it's bad, right?
Yeah.
And I'm also find like, and sometimes people are like, Casper, how do you find like the motivation, and how do you keep doing podcasting, and how do you keep all doing those things? Well, I'm surrounded by people like Jen, who like fucking kills it. I'm like, it's actually, I'm not giving you credit here, but also in a good way. It's like, in a good way, you put pressure on me to do better.
Come on, Casper.
It goes both ways.
You do as well.
Yeah. But I'm actually serious, right? Like, you put pressure on me because you tell me, hey, man, it's time to do podcasting. Oh, shit, yeah.
Casper, here are the notes. Here's 12 pages of notes. I've learned, though.
Yeah. I'll be there.
I literally am like, here's my notes, and here's a Casper-friendly version.
I'm the worst people, so you know.
But I've learned to work with you. But at the same time, you make me step my game up.
Exactly.
You know?
So we just from us doing this, we help each other step up our game.
Yeah.
And that's just one aspect of my life, right? Like, and then you know, my wife. Well, my wife teaches me so much about empathy and like how to treat kids and how to treat especially unknown people and stuff. She's so good at socializing all this stuff. I'm not bad.
She's lovely.
She's
so
very,
lovely.
very lovely.
You punching above your weight.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody.
I'm fully aware. I know. But also like now I have a team here, right? Like, and you put in together a team, and like the rest, all of the like. We look for people who go above and beyond, because when you see people who go above and beyond, like the rest of us feel like, okay, I need to go above and beyond. Right?
It's like in sports too. You know, you played sports, I played sports. It's you rise the level of your competition.
Exactly.
And when you watch some sports where it's like, I don't know if it's Denmark versus Madagascar or something, a small country, the game is probably not that exciting.
No.
And Denmark probably doesn't have their best game, but when it's like Denmark, Sweden, or like, you know,
Yeah.
all of a sudden the level of both teams, it's quite interesting to see the energy and everything goes up because you step up, you step your game up.
And then it's very true. And I think one of the things you can take away from this is also like, if you feel like you are not the person you want to be, take a look around at the people you surround yourself with and take yourself away from that.
Yeah.
And I've actually, like, just to be a little bit harsh, like I had a few friends in high school and stuff that I thought were the right friends for me. But when I started in university and stuff, I quickly realized like these are not the right friends for me.
Yeah.
Like this is not helpful. So I didn't, maybe I should have done that, but I didn't cut them off in per se where I just stopped. I just stopped doing too much with them. I was like, I'm just gonna phase it out slowly.
Yeah.
And I've done that a few times where I'm like, you're actually not making me a better person.
Yeah.
Like you're not, it's actually, and sometimes I've had to do some really harsh choices on that stuff. That's another note for another day. But I found that to be very true. And I think I'm in a really good spot in my life today. I'm really happy. I'm doing all the stuff I love. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm surrounding myself with really awesome people.
Yeah.
And this makes it easier for me to be me, right? So
yeah, I think that's part of it, right? If you're with people who bring out the best of you, then you can be yourself.
Yes.
And you can relax, and you don't have, and that kind of goes to one of the earlier ones of, being yourself and being comfortable who you are.
Yeah.
That's also like, I don't know, everyone has that high school, that's who I was.
Yeah.
And sometimes people want you to still be who you were, and you need to find those friends who grow with you and accept you as you grow and you change. And and I think that's really good. It's important who you surround yourself with.
I found that to be the case. Yeah. It's very much true.
Mine, I think letting go of what you can't control.
I love that. Yes.
It's a really hard one. And we just did an episode about getting laid off, right?
Yeah.
And that, one of my experience was like, I can't control this.
Sure.
I cannot stop this from happening. The paperwork has been signed. Even if I hadn't signed, like, I'm gone. Like, that's me. It's done. I can't save this.
Yep.
And I could try to hold on to it and try to fight it, or I can just go with the flow and go, I can't control it. What's next? And one of the things that I learned from that experience, right, is like, you can't control what happens, but you can control how you react to it. So learning to be a little bit more laissez-faire, like, let it be, it's going to be okay. I can control my response. That's the only thing you can control.
Absolutely. I love that so much.
Yeah.
I think this entrepreneur, Danish entrepreneur Martin Thorborg, he said something I really took to heart that's very similar to this. He said in Danish, but I'll try to translate into English a bit if I can. When you worry about something, and it does happen, then you're worried about something and it did happen, so suck. Right? And then suck. And if you worry about something and then it ends up not happening, then you're worried about something and it didn't end up happening, so you sucked, and then great. Yeah. Right? So worrying actually does nothing for you. Because it's, and again, coming back to the control part, you can't control, sometimes you can't control if it happens or not. So the worrying part doesn't help you control that outcome. Yeah. Like, so I know it's really easy to say stop worrying, but fundamentally, I think speaking of my wife, I try to help her. Like, she's she worries about a lot of stuff, especially the kids. Like, hey, are they getting enough food and blah blah all this stuff, right? And I'm like, honey, we can only do so much, and it's not gonna help worry. We've done everything we can, so worrying about it will not help anything. It won't change anything.
And I'm a big worrier. Like, I'm still trying to let go
of that.
Moms
typically are.
Moms are. We worry about everything. Yeah. But also, it's like I said earlier in the earlier episode.
Yeah.
No, earlier this episode. Sorry, but like, how do I switch those roles?
Yeah.
And like, I'm a mom. I got to make sure this and this and this and this, and I got to be the best employee, and I got to be the best manager, and I got to be the best leader, and I got to be the best podcast host, and I have to be. I'm representing women all over the world in marketing, and it's just like. You know, and my wife is the same. Like she's like, so for context, my wife is a pediatric doctor.
Yeah.
Bernalay. And I'll come home and be like, oh man, I had the worst day. The internet was bad. I failed at this KPI that I was aiming for, and I had an argument with a colleague.
Yeah.
And she's like, I had a kid die today.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like,
puts everything into perspective, right?
You know what? My day wasn't that bad.
Wasn't that
you
bad.
know, so it also helps like.
Yeah.
You know, not that we want that to happen, but when you work in a field where you're dealing with literal life and death, we work in marketing.
Yes. Yeah, we're fine. Like it's not like it's when COVID hit. Like we were not the essential employees.
No. And again, my wife and my sister, like my sister's
those
also,
were essential.
You know, and they're sending me pictures with the goggles and the full body suits. And my wife had to work outside the hospital. They set up a tent because they couldn't let anyone in. That matters.
Yeah.
Worry
totally
about
agree.
that.
Yeah.
Me having to work remotely. I have to turn my camera on. Oh, are you kidding
Zoom
me
is
right
not
now?
working again. I had a day a few months ago where I couldn't get my screens to work, and my whole day was ruined. And it was just like when I thought about it after, I was like, "Fucking idiot."
My headphones died.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to sit on a train for 45 minutes
Without music.
Without music? Are you fucking kidding me right now? And then I needed to have things put in perspective. Like it's fine.
It's fine. We're okay.
So laugh at it.
Yeah.
Let go. Just, the only thing you can do is control how you respond to it.
Yeah.
And if you're not working in the medical field, if you're not saving lives every day, calm the fuck down.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
I think it's my turn, right?
Yes.
Yes. So this is one of my favorite quotes. It's and it's something I don't find it's very related to sales, but it's actually related to life in general, and that's how I really love it. I actually have a mug where it says this quote on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that bad.
It's muggable.
It's
That's
muggable.
how impressive and important it is.
I'll tell the story and then I'll tell the quote.
Okay.
So the story I heard the first time I heard it was in another podcast, My First Million, and they talked. It was a story from the owner, the founder of Twitch, I think. The streaming platform.
Yep.
And they were about to make a huge deal with Microsoft at that point. And some of the sales reps came in and said like, "Oh, we're about to make this huge deal. It's literally in the bank. The contract's just about to be signed. Everything's set up. We got this. And it's going to change the whole game in the quarter." And then he just looked at them and said, "Birds fly, fish swim, and deals fall through." And then it's just like, and they were like, "What? Why are you not excited?" And it's like, let's see.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, it went through. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right, fall through. Sorry. And I think that's just it's very clear, classic for sales. And I literally just today I had a sales thing where I was like, "That's in the bank." I was like, "Boom, boom, I got this already locked in." Proposal was over. Everything. It was very much locked in. I felt like, and then for some reason it fell through.
It fell through. Yeah.
And I think that's so. It's very clear when it's a sales case that these things happen. But I also felt like in life in general. It's the quote. What the quote is trying to say, in case you haven't gotten it yet, for the listeners, it's just like it's the most natural thing. Like things fall through, and sometimes it's just you can't explain it. Sometimes it just happens. Like sometimes for whatever reason, this just
You
happens.
never know.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
This is not an excuse to not go back and say, "Hey, what can I have done better?" All that stuff. But it's just to say sometimes shit just happens, right?
Yeah.
And and I think like
And you can't control
you
it.
didn't get that job because of X, Y, Z. It wasn't nothing to do with you. It just happened. It's very natural.
And it'll happen again.
And it will happen
And it'll
again.
happen again.
So if it hurts you that much every time, you get used to it.
Yeah.
Like,
or you're in the wrong business.
Or you're in the wrong business. Yeah. And I found that to be extremely comforting sometimes, especially when it comes to sales stuff, because I do a lot of sales for Spark. For I'm like, you know what? This happened. I'm like just looking at the other rest of the team, like, yeah, shit happens. Moving on.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing we can do. Deals fall through. Right?
And
it's
that's
the most
life.
natural thing in the world. And and then I think it was Simone, who used to work here, she made a mug with the quote on it.
Shout out to Simona.
Shout out to Simone.
Hey, girl.
Yeah.
All right. Shall I end it on my last one?
I have a few more.
You have a few more.
I actually
okay.
want. Yeah, but go for it. Yeah.
I want to end it.
Okay. Should I do one?
You
then?
go another one. then.
Okay.
You do
I
another
have two more left.
Two more. Okay.
I actually have three.
If
but
I have
Yeah.
things, I'll try and.
one thing I've also found in life is that I think it's motivation is also a very misleading thing.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. Motivation is I'm a big motivational talks, right?
You love a motivational talk.
But motivational talks or motivation in general is what gets you through that one thing, but it's not what gets you through the marathon.
Okay.
Right? So motivation can, like, I think a perfect example is whenever I remember coming back from India when I was on exchange. I had lost a lot of weight. I was a bit chubbier than I am today. And I was like, bam, I'm super motivated. I'm going to keep working out. But motivation only lasts for a period because it has to be cultivated. Like it has to be, you have to constantly feed it. That's why I listen to these things, because I had to constantly tell yourself, come on, get off your ass. So motivation is a fluent thing. Whereas like grit and real, not passion is a dangerous word, but grit and passion, those are the things like, and determination, that's actually probably the right word. Determination is lasting.
Yeah.
If you're determined to do something, if you're like, hey, I'm fucking gonna do this because otherwise, like, here's the thing. Let's take an example. So someone's being like, if you're like on a savannah, right? And like the gazelle is being chased. Do you think it's running because of motivation? No, or the lion. Like, is the lion chasing the gazelle because of motivation? No, it's not chasing the gazelle because of motivation. It's motivated to get food. It's determined to get that gazelle because otherwise the kids don't fucking eat.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the same kind of thing. Like, that's not motivation. That's determination. Like, and I think that's what I found in life, that motivation is a fluctuating thing. Sometimes motivation can last very long. Like, it could be a year or something, right? But it's never permanent. Like motivation, I've never felt.
Well, you need wins, right?
We need wins.
You need like milestone wins.
We need
so
milestone wins.
Yeah,
and
baby steps.
Baby steps.
And that keeps.
And that keeps it fueling, right?
Yeah.
But it's very rare that you can only feed on motivation to keep going at something.
And that's like you and I both lost some weight. I think it's safe to say. And that's like, you don't want to go, I want to lose 20 kilos. You're like, okay, I want to lose 4 by this date. And then another, and then I want to, sorry, that's me this time. Usually it's you.
Boom.
I'll put that on Do Not Disturb. Go away.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have to put these like small goals for yourself. Right?
Exactly.
So I found motivation to be like, it's only temporary. Like, it's actually not. If you're only like, I'm super motivated to do this, right? Okay, but you need more.
Yep.
Like, you actually need more. And that I found in life.
That's a good one. Set yourself milestones.
Exactly.
I have a train in 9 minutes. So, I have to
do
leave
the
in
last
9
one.
minutes.
Finish
Are you
last
sure?
one.
No, what's your last one? Go.
Okay, my last one is just be straight from the start.
Okay.
So, and here, with that I mean just like, I found set the right expectations and tell people what you expect from them, and also save yourself a bunch of time by not beating around the bush. Like, I found, and that's my general, like, I'm very transparent. Of course, I'm not transparent about everything in life, but I'm transparent about a lot of things.
Yeah.
You can ask me almost anything.
Yeah.
Right? And I found
And we talk a lot about it on this podcast. You're very open. Yeah.
I'm trying to be very open, like pricing on a website, all that kind of stuff, right? But fundamentally, I just like, in my personal life, but also like, I'm not afraid to talk about things, and I think that helped me actually save so much time.
Yeah.
Because like, if like, for when I tell my people on my team, when we talk about salary, like, I'm just gonna tell them, like, this is how I think it should be. This is where we're headed. This is where we're going. We can always talk about it.
Yeah.
We can always
and
talk about
I did a LinkedIn post about this too, because as someone who has lived and worked in 4 different countries, I'm so used to miscommunication.
Yeah.
And so what one person would see as direct and maybe rude is me going, are we clear?
Yes.
You're
exactly.
Danish, I'm American.
Yeah.
There could be, if I'm like, well, wouldn't it be quite possible if we did, you could be like, what the fuck are you talking about? So I've been like, this is what I want. Are we on the same page?
Exactly.
And feedback I've had from some people is like, it's very direct. Oh, it's very aggressive. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be aggressive. I'm just like, are we on the same page?
Yeah.
Because I have worked in different countries with people from all over the world. And there's so much room for misunderstanding that I think you just have to be like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
This is what I expect from you. Do you feel the same? Are we on the same page? Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that helped me so much.
Yeah.
In life, like, in just and
cut the bullshit.
Not just business, but also just in personal life.
Yeah.
Like, it just helped me so much.
Yeah.
Like, my wife, well, I speak a lot about my wife now, but she actually said it really nice. Like, when you find the one, it's a lot of people have this like expectation that a one is like some magical fairy tale and like complete love, but she actually said it like the best way to know it's the one is because it's easy.
Yeah.
It's super easy.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing complicated. There's no games being played or any of that bullshit. It's just like it was so easy. It was like, hey, I like you too. Okay, cool. We should hang
Hey,
out.
I'm annoyed at you because you did this thing. Okay, I'm
All
sorry.
right,
I won't
cool.
do it again.
I'll fix it.
The
or
end.
whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and we were talking the other day because we have 3 kids now, and one of them is very small, and it's like I was saying, I feel like we're losing kind of our relationship levels, and she just said, no, we're team. We're a team right now.
Yeah.
We're a team. We're gonna act like a team. You take the kids, I get sleep. I'll take the kids, you get sleep. Like and that kind of helped get back to like, okay, this is what it is right now, and we're gonna get through it. And that's how. Just call it what it is.
Exactly.
Right now, we're a team.
Just be straight. It just makes life so much easier.
Absolutely.
All right, you got.
Should I end it on mine? Because this is I said this one on stage when I won Nordic Women in Tech, and this is my life motto. Feel the fear, but do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I think everyone here, if there's one thing you take away, I want you to do that. Like, I think it's okay to be scared of something. If you're scared of public speaking, I was scared to ask you to start a podcast.
Yes.
And it took me a long time, but I did it anyway. And look where we are. I was scared to move to Denmark. I did it anyway. I was scared to have a kid because I was going to be a single mom and, and all of the medical stuff that went through it. But I felt it and I was like, okay, I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yes. And I think it's important psychologically for you to accept something as scary. Like it's okay to say you're scared, but then push yourself to do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And that got me, got me my family. It got me to Denmark. It got me in the role I'm in now. Yeah. And I just think so many people are held back by, what if I can't do this? Or what, get on the stage. What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is people go, you're full of shit. Yeah. I have been on hundreds of stages. That has literally never happened to me. And I didn't come out of the womb speaking.
No, exactly. I think, speaking of quotes, I think there's a quote, I can't remember who said it, but those who say they can't and those who say they can are both usually right.
Yes. Yoda. Didn't Yoda? What is it? He said something like,
maybe.
There is no try.
Yeah, exactly.
There is do or do not or something.
Like, kind of
You're the nerd.
Quote. Yeah. No, I don't think it's Yoda, though. I think it's Will Smith, by the way.
Is it Gandalf?
I heard him say it, at least.
Use the Force, Harry, said Gandalf.
However, I do like, because he's kind of saying a little bit of the same note. It's just like if you keep telling yourself you can't do it, then you're probably right. You can't do it.
Yeah,
but if you keep telling yourself you can do it, you're most likely right. You can't do it.
Yeah, and I think it kind of goes into some of the other life lessons that we've talked about, like the worst that can happen.
Yeah,
like we're marketers. No one's gonna die. Yeah. At worst, you'll blow your budget. BFD. I've blown budgets.
Yeah.
Have you blown a budget?
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
So that's my big takeaway, and I hope that I think if everyone did something that felt they were a little scared to try, I think of like the amazing inventions we'd have, the amazing politicians we'd have, the people who are not in a position to make decisions and make impact on people because they were too scared. What a shame.
Yes,
that is. So
100% agree.
That's why I wanted to end on.
I think that's a great one to end on.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really good. So if you're ever in doubt, go out and do it. Just do it.
As Michael Jackson said, make that change. Can we talk about Michael Jackson? Yeah. It's episode 100.
Yeah, yes. Thanks for listening, folks.
Thanks, guys.
If you stuck around so long, please stick around for the next 100.
Yeah, we got another 100 to go.
Yes.
Maybe less than 4 years to get to the next 100.
We'll get there faster. We promise.
On that note,
thanks for listening.
We love you.
We love you. Take care. Bye.